Oh yeah, here we go. Greetings from the Erie Coast. This is Matt Shad. This is another episode of the Zoot Report, Sunroof Edition. Let's go. It is currently 95 degrees here in Northeast Ohio. It's brutal. God, it's brutal. Brutal hot. So bear with me, folks. Let's see what we can do. This might be another fucking continuation live stream because I only got like 6% power. So yeah, we're struggling with power issues. We're struggling with overheating. It is Friday, and I don't care. Oh, what's that say? Yeah, it's giving me some kind of alert. Alert. I don't know what we're doing. We'll see what happens. So what are we going to talk about today? To bunker or not to bunker? That is the question. Yeah, that is the question. I literally asked a coworker who's a bit of an anti-prepper, and he knows I'm a prepper, and I was able to I had the time to work with him, you know, and of course he's like, why you, good lord, you got bug out bags, you got guns, you trying to hook up your vehicle. Fuck. Are we still live? Damn, I gotta pull over and see this. I gotta pull over and see this. Let's see. I gotta pull over and see what's going on here. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna work. Okay. I am losing power. I'm still live. Okay. Alright, we still live, I guess. Alright. But yeah, he's like, well, you got all these, you got bug out bags, you got this, you got that, you know. He's like, what's the point? What's the point? He's like, are you preparing for war? Yeah, I don't think we'll ever see war. Okay, alright, yeah. I was like, okay, look at it this way. He's a gamer. He's a big gamer. He loves games. I was like, if I prepare for the zombie apocalypse, everything else I've got covered. You know, and he's like, huh? I was like, okay, here we go. Years ago, I lost my job. I got fired from my job. I got evicted. I became homeless, essentially. I was living in a trailer, an RV with no power, 3 cats and a dog. But I had 5 years of food. 5 years of food. We ate good. I didn't have to worry about that. And, you know, I could have sold some guns or something, you know. I think I did. Yeah, I did. No, not that time I did. That was later. But that's, you know, I was prepared. I was ready. Me, 3 cats, and a dog ate for free, essentially. I mean, really. I had propane stove. That's how I made my food, my coffee. Right? I basically had to cut grass to get cigarettes. Which I did. I cut grass and I got a job painting for a while when the work was there. But I had 5 years of food. I had no worries about food. Anyway, he did inspire me about this. I needed inspiration, muse. We got talking about bunkers. And I know a guy, that's right, I know a guy, who absolutely hates bunkers. He thinks they're death traps. And they could be. They could be a death trap. So what are the pros and cons of bunkers? I mean, I want bunkers, I want tunnels, man, I want everything. I want to go subterranean. I really do. You know, a bunker is basically a basement, really. You know? So, bunkers. You know, you think about bunkers of back in the Cold War days. You know, there was a push in the 50s and the 60s for bunkers construction, do-it-yourself things. Yeah, some of those were absolutely just fucking death traps. You know, people digging holes in their backyard, you know, putting in some cinder blocks. You know, there you go. That's a bunker. Yeah, we learned a lot. We did. Shout out to Atlas Shelter Survival Shelters. If I had the money, I would buy those. Absolutely. Bunkers have come a long way. And of course, you know, he's like, well, you know, I wouldn't mind living in a missile silo or, you know, one of those abandoned missile silos. I was like, yeah, I would too. And I looked into that. Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And it's a lot of work to maintain it. Because that's the key. If you don't have all that maintenance and upkeep going 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that bunker essentially turns into a underground swimming pool. It does turn into a death trap. There's so many systems that you gotta keep up with. It's a lot. It is. It's a lot. And they had people. They had teams of people working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Maintenance crews, fixing and repairing things daily. Maintaining sump pumps, maintaining humidity controllers, maintaining ventilation. You know, that's your biggest thing. Two biggest things that destroy a bunker are static pressure and carbon dioxide buildup. And carbon monoxide buildup. Carbon dioxide's a killer. If the level builds up too much, you essentially go to sleep and don't wake up. And there's telltale signs. You get headaches, blurry vision, shit like that. So, you know, you need monitoring on that. That's very essential. Extremely essential. That's one of the biggest killers. If you don't have air scrubbers or way to filter your air, which we do now. I mean, we've done there is a lot of technology involved that has gotten a lot better. Atlas Survival Shelters, definitely. It's based on everything that the military did. You know, the country of Finland, which is on the border with Russia. Skull, by the way. Has built enough bunkers to house their whole population underground during a nuclear war for undetermined amount of time. I think it's top secret. But they encourage their people, like say you have a home, you also have a bunker home. And they encourage you to go there on the weekends, take the family, practice, stock up your own supplies, you know, get used to the amenities, get used to the the countless tunnels and corridors and walkways and stairwells that exist. That's pretty fucking cool. I'd love to check that out. You know, we used to have that here too. We had fallout shelters. Russia, they do the same thing. They have these fallout shelters. St. Peter's subway, which is very, very old. That also doubles as a nuclear fallout shelter for a large portion of their population. But here in this country, we used to have fallout shelters, usually in the basement of a school or something like that. Most of our municipal buildings, federal buildings, have some type of basement, have some type of fallout shelter. Of course, the White House has the bunker and the escape corridor and a host of tunnels that take them all over the place. But once again, there's teams of people that maintain this shit. Atlas shelters, your private contractors that build shelters, they take a similar approach, but for basically a no-nonsense, one-time deal. There's not a lot of maintenance involved. Yeah, you got to keep systems running. You got to have power. You got to keep the air circulating down there. Having a power source, which usually it's a diesel generator, and the room is it's built in underground, adjacent to you, but sealed off. Yet it breathes, right? It's got intake and exhaust. That's very important, right? Dealing with fumes, diesel fumes, carbon monoxide. So if that leaks into your main section of your bunker, that's a bad day too, right? I know Atlas, they use this massive solid carbon filter made by the Swiss. That is amazing. Swiss or Swedish, I don't know. And it gives you like 25 years of clean air. You can run it by hand as a pump. So there's redundancy systems in it. I've seen some builds that have the solar generator, solar power, battery banks, and the diesel generator, Generac maybe, already built into that. And the whole thing about your construction of your bunker, there's always one way in. There's two ways in and out. There's one way in, especially with Atlas. There's usually one way in, and an escape hatch that is sealed, usually with sand or dirt. And you kind of, it's very rudimentary, but you can improve on it, right? Make another little corridor. I wouldn't mind having I dig a big hole, build the bunkers, and then put my house on top of that. There you go, it's gone. They can find bunkers from space, and with LiDAR, deep penetrating, ground penetrating radar. It is possible. But you put a house on top of it, and it's like noise. Just kind of blends into the noise. It's hard to find now. But that's the thing too, is we've all seen the Twilight Zone video, or the Twilight Zone movie, where this guy was in the neighborhood in a suburban area, black and white, you know, circa 1950s, 60s, whatever. He's building a bunker. And he's friends with all his neighbors, you know, great neighborhood, and everybody's like just chilling, having barbecues, you know, whatever, bridge club, you know, whatever, kids playing together. And he was constantly harping on everybody to get ready. Just get ready. You know, they all made fun of him. Oh, look at you, you're building a bunker. Ha ha ha. Oh, that's cute. Like you're ever going to need that. And they shit on him, right? They made fun of him, they shit on him. And then one day, you heard the sirens. The air raid sirens happened. And of course, the man with his wife and his kid and enough food for them to survive go into their bunker. And what happens? All the neighbors come knocking on the damn door. Let us in, you gotta let us in, let us in. And he's having this dilemma. Hey, I told you for years to get ready. You didn't. You fucking didn't. Well, there's no cussing, but I only have enough food and air and water for me, my wife, and my kid, my son. That's it. That's all I got. Good luck. Enjoy the nuclear holocaust. And so a lot of neighbors came down, started, you know, they all started to gather at the door and beat down the door. And he said, "Hey, let us in or we're going to break this door down." He's like, "You're not going to break the door down. It's steel, it's solid steel. We would break it down. We will cut a hole in it. We will poke holes through. We will remove it from his hinges. We will tear this door down if you don't let us in." And he said, "If you do that, we all die. We all die. Because now there's no door. Radiation is just going to come in." And the neighbors were already radiated. So the story goes. So the pros and cons of having a bunker, right? It's a great idea if nobody knows you got it. If somehow that you can hide the construction of it, whether you dig it from underneath the ground, which is extremely hard to do, can be done. You basically use mining procedures, old school mining, timbering, you know, and then start, you know, doing creative things with concrete and reinforced steel, waterproofing. Drainage is a big deal. Running your exhaust, your exhaust and your intake, and making sure that nobody knows what it is, that stays secret. It's usually that curved pipe that's sticking up out of the ground somewhere, encased in concrete. That's a telltale sign that there's something subterranean. And that's an intake. So think about how hard that would be if you were digging a hole in your backyard. You know, all your neighbors are going to be watching this, and all your neighbors are going to watch this big 18-wheeler come in with this massive box, you know, and they're gonna roll it in. They're gonna use a crane to take it off the 18-wheeler, slowly lower it into the hole, and start doing all this work. Usually takes them, I don't know, a good month. All your neighbors are watching. They're asking, "What are you doing?" You're building a bunker, aren't you? Oh no, it's a septic tank. Well, you know, I've never seen a septic tank be built that way. That's a rather large septic tank you got there. I had thought about, you know, building like getting like a, what do you call it? Like a barn, a movable barn, a barn that you move. So that way you're excavating, nobody knows what you're doing in there, and you build your bunker. You roll it in, you lower it down like a casket, then you just start filling it in. So the drainage is very, very important. Gravel is very important. You encase the whole thing in gravel. You pour a slab. You get all your fittings. You get all your support beams. Everything set up. You're running the power. You're running. You know, so you want to run the conduit. You know, sealing all that up, and sealing up your, you know, your door, all that. You know, and you know how you camouflage that is up to you, or if you even do, maybe you just keep the barn on top of it. I like the idea of having it right into the house, like you just, boom, trap door into the house, or you walk through a closet and, you know, fake wall in the back, and there's your door, you know, however you want to do it, right? But then you gotta have the escape, right? The escape is also, you gotta have the escape hatch. That's mandatory, really. You know, your basements, you know, you think about, and this is something that you need a permit for. So your city is going to know that you have this. Your township, your municipality is going to be on record that you have a bunker. So yeah, you might have some first responders show up during a crisis demanding entry, or they already, you know, planned a way to get into your clandestine bunker. Now you could dig it yourself, you know, like mining, using mining techniques. You'd have to run your it's called timbering. Just look up timbering, right? It's a certain way that you timber, that you dig, and you shore up the everything. And then from there, you just start building support out of concrete, reinforced, you know. You build a cage basically out of rebar. You put up your forms, and you injection mold concrete in. You do the same thing with the top. It's a process. It's a process. If you're going to not dig a hole, like, you know, from the top. If you're going to go mining, it's a lot different, and more dangerous. More dangerous. But it can be done, and it's been done. It's very important to have like L shapes into the entry of your bunker. It's very important because that stops the radiation, and it also gives you a choke point that you can it's easily defendable. But once again, the biggest problem, especially if somebody knows you're down there, is they can just dig you out. They can grab a shovel and start digging. And they can shut off your exhaust, shut off your intake, plug that all up, and just wait. Just wait for everybody to die, or you come running out of the bunker. Yeah. Or, in my case, pump it full of Jello. 50,000 gallons should do it. 18-wheeler with a fucking industrial-sized pump. Glug, glug, glug. I've always, I want to test a theory. They always say there's room for Jell-O. I want to make sure. I want to test that theory. Yep. Bunker busters. I mean, and once they get to the concrete, then it's pickaxe time. You know, jackhammer time. Get to the metal part. It's pull out the Diablo saw. Start cutting. I mean, so we can get to the bunker. It's very important, but I mean, if you can do it clandestinely, like nobody knows that you just built a bunker, you should be relatively safe. And you camouflage the entryways and all that. And that would be optimum construction for a bunker. Totally off the grid, off the fucking books. Illegal, of course. You know, once they find out that you built a bunker, you can never sell the house. You can never sell the house. It's yours. You know. Because once the new owners find out that there's a bunker there, and they will find out, maybe. Depends on how good you hide it, camouflage it. Once they find out, they're gonna call it. They're gonna tell everybody, "Hey, I found a bunker. What do I do?" You know, concerned citizen. Why is there tunnels and bunkers here? You know, why is this little 2-bedroom house? It says here, you know, it should be worth $200,000, but you got $500,000 here. What's so special about it? Oh, it's got a fucking bunker. It'd be great. It's a great idea for like storage. Man, can you imagine? Even if you just used it for stockpiling gear, medical supplies, food, you know, all these things, water. If you just use it for that, it would be badass. It would be worth it. You know, I would want another one. I'd want 2. I'd want 3. 3 is my magical number. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pros and cons to it. Please tell me what you think in the comments. I think it'd be badass to have a bunker, especially if it's no nonsense, right? No nonsense construction. I don't have to do much to it to keep it running. I just got to make sure that it's got good protection against static pressure, and I've got a robust air scrubber that I can either go manual or, you know, of course, redundancy in the power supply. Now, some things to remember is there's no open flame, there's no cigarettes, no smoking. Yeah, you could make a room. It's got like an overblast thing in it, but every time you're smoking, you're getting rid of a lot of your air, that air that you need. Another pros and cons. If you go 6 feet down, the temperature of the earth, the temperature of the bunker is going to stay a constant 58 degrees. Constant. So there's that. It'd be nice to have in the summertime. You just go down and live in the bunker, right? 58 degrees. Bring some blankets. Man, that'd be comfortable as fuck. As far as like how you're going to cook, how you're going to, you know, there's no flame. Propane is a big no-no. Yeah, it's got to be electric. It's got to be electric. You know, it's got to be, you know, and any type of fumes, any type of steam even. You know, if you're going to boil water, you're adding humidity to the air. That's got to be scrubbed. I mean, just your breathing alone adds moisture to the air. So that's got to be dealt with. So yeah, you need a very robust air handling system, air exchange system. That's extremely vital and necessary. But that's a system that could fail if not done properly, and you don't have your pace, right? Your primary system, your alternating system, your contingency system, and your emergency system, right? What are your procedures for that? For any of these systems, your water storage, you got to have water. How much water are you going to have, and can you keep it? Can you keep water safely? Because if you fuck that up, you're going to die there. You're going to get dysentery. You're gonna get, don't get a protoplaza. Don't get an amoeba. That's a bad day. Your sewer. You're gonna have a sewer. You're gonna have a. Running a. You could run a septic tank. That would probably be the best way. But those things get stopped up. You can't go outside. How you gonna fix it? It's buried too. Have maybe a backup. Maybe you're composting. But you still gotta get rid of that waste. How are you gonna get rid of it? You're in a box, underground, can't leave. And you think about it, like fallout shelters, nuclear. It's. Consult. I'm not for. I think it's like a good month after the initial blast. It all depends on what's going on. It's the irradiated particulates and water in the air that kill you. Get into everything. So do you have a decon? Is there a decon kit, a decon station built into this bunker of yours, so you can go in and out and not contaminate the rest of the clean structure? So you got to have very good decon, like CDC level decon shit. It can be done with what you got. It can be done. You can build it. And so, think about the pros and cons of that. It would be really cool. I think it'd be the ultimate prep. It's often considered the ultimate prep is having a bunker, being a vault dweller. All right. Yeah, your power is going to be different. Are you going to have surveillance on the outside, cameras everywhere? Will they survive the blast? Will they survive the Holocaust? You know what I'm saying? Drones. I like the idea of drones out there. Have me some drones that I can scout the area and maybe deploy them. You see me, right? For one of the massive arguments against it would be it's absolutely astronomical when you start talking about it, what you need and the resources you're going to need. The cost alone is going to deter most people. Definitely deterred me. But you can also do it another way. You could also build a bunch of little bunkers and link them together. That's an idea. I thought about that. There is many bunkers that you can build out of, just a dome, a concrete dome. That they found that, that was the idea, that the concrete dome underground is definitely really strong against static pressure and impact. So underground, you're going to have shock waves. You're going to have this force that hits, and think about where you're going to put it. You got to have a very, very good, strong foundation. Oh man, if you're going to build right into bedrock, that's going to be oh my God, you got to do some drilling, you got to do some blasting, and some coring. Oh, I found out, fun fact, the coring machines, most of them they just bury. Like the big coring machines that they dig tunnels, massive tunnels with. When they're done, they scrap it. They scrap what they need out of it, and then they bury the rest. I'm like, what? It just seems like a waste, huh? So yeah, to bunker or not to bunker? It would be possible, I guess, to build your own and to build and maintain it yourself. A second basement, if you will. A do-it-yourself bunker. Once again, you got to make sure you do it right, or it will become a tomb. You got to have studies. You got to have geo studies, seismic, floodplains. I mean, wow, it's amazing what you got to look into, the research you got to do, the amount of engineering that's involved in just building a little bunker. I guess you could get away with it, but for the most part, so I thank you for this conversation. To bunker or not to bunker? That is the question. This has been Mad Shad. Thank you for hanging out with me with the Zoot Report. See you later on tonight for Lackluster Fridays. We're going to do some scenario stuff. That'll be good times. Let's go.